Hello viewers and welcome to another match of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. My name is Mitch and I am the Hive Tyrant. Today we have game 2 out of a total of 8 taken from a Russian store championship. On the left we have Ragnar Blackmane played by Dmitry Kletochkin, while to the right sits Anton Elizarov, instead playing Commander Shadowsun. Planet number 1 is going to be Planum, which allows you to move a friendly non-warlord unit to a target planet of your choice. Ragnar starts off today's game holding our initiative token, and his first deploy action is going to be tossing out a copy of Veteran Brother Maxos to planet number 1. For the cost of 3, our Space Marines faction loyal unique army unit has 2 command icons, an attack value of 2, as well as a reservoir of 3 hit points. It's got a combat action which allows you to put Space Marine faction army units from your hand into play at his planet, provided you pay their resource cost. At planet number 3, Ragnar lays down a copy of the 2-cost Tactical Squad Cardenas. They've got a command icon, 1 attack, as well as 3 hit points, and further, they have the area effect 1 keyword. Last but not least, for our SM player at planet number 4, we've got a copy of the lowly 10th Company Scout, 1 cost, 1 command icon to attack, and just 1 printed hit point. But on Shadowsun's side of the table, looks like her HQ has picked up one of our latest Tau faction additions. It's the 1-cost unique support, Salvage Enclave, and now, whenever Shadowsun puts a non-Tau faction army unit into play, she can exhaust that support in order to decrease its resource cost by 2. Shadowsun herself has picked up a copy of her signature attachment, the Command Link Drone, which for the cost of 0 modifies her statistics to 2 attack and printed 7 hit points, and further, for the investment of just 1 resource, she can transfer that attachment to any other unit. That means that Shadowsun herself is going to be a fantastic contender to be sent to planet number 4. She might show up opposite the 10th Company Scout sitting there at Taurus, kill it off, and provided she can keep a unit count lower than that of our Space Marine player, it's entirely possible that upon triggering that battle ability, she'll be rewarded with her choice of 3 cards or 3 resources. But looks like the Salvage Enclave is already getting some work done. At planet number 1, for the modified cost of 3, we've got a copy of the Space Marines faction common army unit. It's the elite trait Fire Drake Terminators, and for a cost of 3, you can very much not go wrong with putting out a 2 command icon, 3 attack, colossal 6 hit point unit that further has an ability where whenever it's declared defender, the attacker is dealt a point of damage prior to successfully resolving its attack. And if its attacker has just 1 hit point, if the controller of that unit doesn't have any shields remaining, then the Fire Drake Terminators can potentially overcome any number of opponents. Planet number 1, note that Ragnar does possess our initiative token, but Maxos is only going to be able to attack for 2. He's going to take a point of damage in return just by merit of attacking the Fire Drake Terminators, and even though our Ragnar player is going to be able to potentially replenish or reinforce his units at planet number 1, that definitely comes at a significant cost. And each and every attack directed toward those Fire Drake Terminators are going to result in all the more damage being dealt out to Ragnar's forces. At planet number 3, Shadowsun has put out a copy of Blood Angels Veterans. She did have to pay the full cost of 3 for that unit, but it's got a command icon, 3 attack, 3 hit points, and so long as it remains ready, then whenever it happens to be dealt damage, you prevent the first point thereof. Shadowsun is going to be incentivized to either show up at planet number 4 to kill off that scout, potentially trigger Taurus, but Shadowsun is also going to be motivated to arrive at planet number 1 just to trigger her command phase ability to drop off an attachment onto that Fire Drake Terminator and make it all the more insurmountable an obstacle for Ragnar to try to overcome, especially considering planet number 1 is going to be Planum. It's got a blue technology icon associated with it. The Fire Drake Terminators might be able to be moved, should they win that battle, to planet number 2, and then they can pick up a second blue tech icon, and provided that Shadowsun is going to be able to win at planet number 5, that could be the game, as simple as that, for our Tau faction warlord. Ragnar shows up at planet number 4. I can only imagine he was expecting Shadowsun may arrive at that planet. That would have been a good opportunity for him to trigger his reaction to deal 2 points of damage to a target enemy unit, provided he arrives at the same planet as sits an enemy warlord. Shadowsun, having arrived at planet number 1, looks like she tosses out a copy of Ion Rifle for the Fire Drake Terminators. They're going to be attacking for a total of 6. Planet number 1 is going to be a card and a resource to the right for our Shadowsun player. Planet number 2 and 5, neither player is going to end up winning anything. Planet number 3 is going to be a couple of resources for neither player. 1 command icon equals 1 command icon, and Ragnar is going to end up winning 1 card and 1 resource from planet number 4. Shadowsun at planet number 1, the Fire Drake Terminators takes a swing for a staggering 6. Veteran Brother Maxos is going to be outright obliterated without our Space Marine having decided to use that combat action, and now this is going to be a great opportunity for that Fire Drake Terminators to be repositioned on any target planet. I was going to say, I think Taurus would not be the worst choice in the world for that unit, just because it's currently a 6/6. Each and every time the 10th Company Scout or Ragnar takes a swing at it, they're going to be dealt a point of damage, which means Ragnar's going to have to use shield cards just to keep his 10th Company Scout alive, and each time his Warlord decides to attack, that's going to be Ragnar taking a point of damage. So Ragnar swings for 2. Looks like the Fire Drake Terminators either derive benefit from a shield card, or we saw a copy of Indomitable used because it's sitting with no damage whatsoever. That means that 10th Company Scout, it must have taken a swing because it's going to be immediately killed, and that brings our unit count to 2 for Ragnar, who retreated at the end of a combat round, and that's going to be 3 for Shadowsun. So even though she was not able to actually trigger the battle ability of Taurus, that does not mean that she wasn't able to drive Ragnar away from that planet. Ragnar himself would not have been able to benefit from Taurus's ability, but all the same, 1 damage on Ragnar is good, and now the Fire Drake Terminators is set up pretty favorably to win command at Taurus, and to likely block Ragnar off from triggering it, and now the initiative is back to Shadowsun. So planet number 1, we see a copy of White Scar's Biker, played by Shadowsun. Having gone through our HQ phase, both of our players has 4 fresh resources and 2 new cards in hand. The Salem Enclave means that White Scar's Biker is going to be put into play for the practically unbeatable cost of just 1 resource, and already that Enclave, for the cost of a card and 1 resource, has given Shadowsun the benefit of the equivalent of 4 resources, and the longer this game goes, I can only imagine that that's going to get all the more ridiculous in time. But the White Scar's Bikers, they've got a command icon, they've got a base 2 attack value, they have 3 hit points, and whenever a Warlord is present at their planet, they're going to be getting a +2 attack value bonus. That would be a great opportunity for if Ragnar shows up unabetted by any other forces, he'll have initiative, he'll be able to swing, but it's going to be on Dmitry to the left to either have an Indomitable in hand to block that 4, just colossal points of damage, or otherwise he's going to have to just use a large number of shield cards. I guess maybe the best case scenario for Ragnar there is he's going to be arriving at that planet and he'll have a copy of Crushing Blow in order to kill off that White Scar's Biker, but even though it's partially obscured by glare, remember that planet number 1 is going to be Eloith, which has a 2-card bonus, and further, whenever its battle ability is going to be triggered, you have your choice of the top 3 cards of your deck. You add 1 to your hand, you put the remaining 2 on the bottom of your deck in the order of your choice, and that is one hell of a battle ability indeed. It looks like Shadowsun's already kind of found some of her combo pieces, but I definitely would not say no to a little bit of card advantage. But looks like our players have tossed out another couple units. At planet number 5, for our Tau player, we've got a copy of the Recon Drone. It's going to be a 0-cost limited keyword army unit with 2 command icons. It's a 0/1. And at planet number 4, for our SM player, we've instead got a copy of Rogue Trader. So it's going to be a 1-cost, 1 command icon, 0/1 with a +1 resource bonus. I do apologize, but it looks like an SM army unit played out to planet number 1 is going to be rather obscured by glare. It's looking to be a Blackmane Sentinel Sentinel, but I cannot know quite for sure. Okay, yes, it is a Blackmane Sentinel, so the Sentinel is going to be moved away from planet number 1 to planet number 5. Shadowsun arrives at planet number 5. Looks like that's going to be a copy of what seems to be a Shadowsun stealth cadre on that White Scars biker, which is going to be augmenting it. No, I'm sorry, that's a 2 shield value card, so I can only imagine that that is going to be a copy of auxiliary armor. So that means that the White Scars biker is going to be a modified 4 attack value, 4 hit point unit that gains an additional 1 command icon. Shadowsun herself is going to gain a couple of cards from planet number 1. That's going to be Elowith, giving our Tau player his choice of the top 3 cards off of his deck. Planet number 2, thanks to a second copy of Tactical Squad Cardenas, is going to be a couple of resources to the left for Ragnar. Planet number 3 is going to be a card and a resource for Shadowsun. Planet number 4 is going to be a grand total of 2 resources to the left for Ragnar. And then planet number 5, Karnath, that wild card planet, that is going to be a card and a resource for Ragnar. Further, the Blackmane Sentinel takes a swing, kills that recon drone, and now it's going to be Ragnar with his choice of a variety of different card effects here. So he can either use Farron to rout one of our Space Marine faction units, or he can use Yvarn. Looks like he actually did settle on Farron, so he's going to be evicting the Blood Angels veterans from planet number 1. So at present, Shadowsun has got 2 planets in her victory display, and that is going to be a total of 2 blue and 1 green strongpoint icon for Shadowsun. So Shadowsun is going to end up winning at planets 2 and 3. That could be the game for her through those green strongpoint icons, or we could see Shadowsun sweep planets 1, 2, and 3 and win through red, or Shadowsun could just not give a damn, win planet number 3, and that would be victory through blue technology icons. But then again, the same could be said for planets 4 or 5 as well. Our new 5th planet, as we've gone through an HQ phase, is going to be Iridial, the healing planet. Note that Ragnar's thrown out a copy of Ragnar's War Camp. It's going to be a 3-cost support, where whenever one of your Space Wolves trait units is at the same planet as your Warlord, and they deal damage to the enemy Warlord, so there's a lot of, contingencies and restrictions upon that effect, they do manage to deal double damage. So it's a rather powerful effect, and perhaps Ragnar's thinking the only way he's going to be able to win this one is through bloodying Shadowsun, but considering Shadowsun has 7 printed hit points, that is definitely going to be one hell of an uphill battle here. So planet number 3, our Tau player lays down a copy of the Viorla Marksman. So it's got, for the cost of 1, a command icon, it's got 1 attack, it's got the ranged keyword, as well as 2 hit points, and it's going to be fantastic to potentially augment with attachments delivered courtesy of Shadowsun. If Shadowsun is going to be sent to planet number 3, she'll be dropping herself, her units off. Her HQ retinue is going to be dumped at planet number 3, her victory condition planet. She'll be possibly gifting an ion rifle or something along those lines to that Viorla Marksman so it can attack during ranged. Even if Ragnar shows up at that planet, it with an ion rifle would attack for 4, with auxiliary armor it would attack for 3, with a copy of Shadowsun Stealth Cadre it would also attack for 3, so the options indeed happen to be legion there. For Ragnar, it looks like he's got planet number 1 reasonably locked down. It would probably be foolhardy for him to arrive at planet number 2, and it looks like at planet number 1 we see one hell of a unit. That is going to be Inquisitor Caius Roth. So for the cost of 4, he's got a command icon, 3 attack, and 5 hit points, and he's going to force both players to discard down to 4 cards in hand. I was going to say the Inquisitor as a 3/5 by himself is definitely likely to be able to kill off those Tactical Squad Cardenases, but Shadowsun's going to encounter a little bit of problems here because we've now got a copy of Honored Librarian at planet number 1. So the Honored Librarian is going to be able, it's a 3-cost unit with a command icon. It attacks for 4. It's got 2 hit points, and it cannot be the direct, it cannot be declared defender provided either you have any other units under your control not named Honored Librarian at that planet. Inquisitor Caius Roth is going to pick up a copy of Repulsive repulsor impact field, and that means whenever he's dealt damage by an attack, whenever he is dealt damage by an attack and he survives, the attacker is going to take 2 points of damage. That does not trigger off of area effect, but it most definitely would trigger off of that Honored Librarian, which, thanks to the event Deception, 2-cost Tau Faction Loyal event Deception, the Honored Librarian is going to be bounced to Ragnar's hand, and Ragnar just cannot catch a break today, let me tell you. So, if Ragnar goes to planet number 1, he's going to have to chew through Inquisitor Caius Roth. Every time he hits Caius Roth, he's going to end up taking 2 points of damage because of that repulsor impact field. The Inquisitor itself is going to be able to attack for 3, and I can only imagine Shadowsun is probably going to be sent to planet number 3. It's looking like that is indeed the case. Ragnar arrives to planet number 1. Looks like Shadowsun was not wanting to arrive at that planet just in case Ragnar's war camp would have possibly been a problem for her. So let's see if Shadowsun has any attachments to put into play on any of those units. Looks like it's going to be a copy of Shadowsun Stealth Cadre equipped on that Viorla Marksman, so it's going to be able to attack for 3 at ranged. Ragnar is sitting at planet number 1, and now he's going to have to deal with Inquisitor Caius Roth, which is, by the way, a non-Tau faction unit. So I believe this is round 3. That is going to be 6 resources total that Salem Enclave has saved Shadowsun, so a hell of a card most definitely, even though it's unique, definitely worth running 2 or 3 copies in your deck just to get that monumentally beneficial effect. So planet number 1 is going to be a couple of resources to the left for Ragnar, that's Farron, the route planet. Planet number 2 is going to be a card and a resource to the right for Shadowsun. Planet number 3 is going to be just 1 resource for Shadowsun, but it's going to be an opportunity for Shadowsun to kill that rogue trader. Planet 4 and 5 are going to be a total of 2 cards and 1 resource for Ragnar. At planet number 1, Ragnar with the initiative is going to use an area effect 1 volley to hit Inquisitor Caius Roth. Well, I guess technically deal damage equal to the area effect value to all enemy units present, which does circumvent that repulsor impact field. Looks like we see a copy of Primal Howl discarded as a shield, and that means unfortunately, our tactical squad and Ragnar are now off camera, so we cannot actually tell what was dealt damage. But looks like Ragnar did pick up 1 point of damage one way or another. We've now got, I believe, a second tactical squad card, Dennis, dealing a point of area effect damage either now or in just a moment. And then we've got an eager recruit being ambushed into play, so a 1-cost 2/1 Space Marine faction unit. And of course, if it manages to damage Inquisitor Caius Roth, it will trigger that repulsor impact field, and it looks like that is exactly what is happening. So Inquisitor Caius Roth has 2 points of damage, presumably because of the tactical squad Cardenas there, or I suppose because that eager recruit attacked, I may have missed some damage dealt to our Inquisitor. I guess really it's hard to tell because some of the cards are off screen, but unlike the Fire Drake Terminators, the repulsor impact field, the attached unit does have to survive the attack in order to deal out that damage. It's the damage is dealt after the resolution of an attack. But regardless, at planet number 1, we see a drop pod assault, and that is going to be the 2-cost ubiquitous Space Marine faction event, and that's going to put an up to 3-cost Space Marine into play at that planet. Perhaps that drop pod assault was actually used as a shield, and Dmitry is just holding his hand because instead it looks like we're not seeing a Space Marine interplay, so Ragnar took a swing. He did not manage to deal damage to Inquisitor Caius Roth, or perhaps he did, and God, I just have to apologize, viewers, but being able to see half of the action of what's going on is just making it rather difficult indeed to tell what exactly is occurring. But Inquisitor Caius Roth at the end of a combat round is going to retreat. That's going to be an opportunity for Ragnar to win that battle. Farron is going to be activated. That's going to be a routed Fire Drake Terminators, and I can only imagine that we saw some combination of drop pod assaults used as shields and or Indomitables, just because it looks suspicious suspiciously like Ragnar Blackmane is only sitting at 1 point of damage despite having potentially attacked and dealt out some damage to Inquisitor Caius Roth. So Repulsor Impact Field, if you use shields to block incoming attack damage, you don't get the opportunity to trigger that effect. At planet number 3, that Rogue Trader is going to be very much dead, courtesy of that Viorla Marksman. And now it's going to be up to Shadowsun. She's got 2 units in her HQ. I can only imagine that she's presumably going to be arriving at planet number 2, just to again set herself up for her victory condition unless our Space Marine player is running a copy of Exterminatus, because then it would definitely be beneficial for Shadowsun to not pile a bunch of non-unique units at a non-first planet. So, initiative is going to be once again in the possession of Shadowsun. Ragnar is going to have his movement restricted by the copy of 2 Tactical Squad Cardenuses. Planet number 1 is going to be Taurus. Note that our unit count is 5 for our Space Marines player, and it's going to be 6 for Shadowsun. It's now actually 7 for Shadowsun, so she's going to be rather incentivized to again show up at planet number 1. She's got another copy of Blood Angels Veterans at that planet, and I apologize, my dear viewers, for not giving this video a more thorough preview prior to commentating, but we've got a Space Marine unit now played to planet number 1. It may be an Honored Librarian, or it may be something else. But at planet number 3, we've got a copy of Promotion, the 0-cost limited keyword attachment, now on that Blackmane Sentinel, and that's going to be great because it'll allow the Sentinel to win command over that copy of Recon Drones unless Ragnar potentially arrives at, say, planet number 1 and then moves the Blackmane Sentinel away from that planet. Because that 2-cost 2/2 there, it does have a command icon, but its reaction is prior to resolving command struggles. And that 10th Company Scout is now sitting rather irrelevant indeed out at the healing planet Iridial, our 4th, I suppose, or 7th planet, whatever you want to call it. Salem Enclave once again had the opportunity to further reduce the resource cost of non-Tau faction units, and that is going to be a total of 8 resources basically saved by our Shadowsun player, and perhaps as a direct result, just look at how many resources Shadowsun has left in her HQ. That is going to be the Exterminatus, so that 3-cost common event is going to be destroying all of the non-unique units at a non-first planet. That's going to be that Viorla Marksman with the Shadowsun Stealth Cadre destroyed. I believe it was a Blood Angels Veterans also destroyed, and then as well as 1 other Tau faction unit. Shadowsun herself is going to be able to arrive at a planet. She'll drop off the Inquisitor, she'll drop off the Fire Drake Terminators, but, wherever she arrives, she will have the option to potentially recur that Shadowsun Stealth Cadre from her discard pile onto, say, that Fire Drake Terminator. Or I suppose auxiliary armor is going to be another target for that, so she could give it an additional +2 attack and a +1 hit point and an additional command icon, but I suppose, why not just go ahead and use the Shadowsun Stealth Cadre just to get some giant, stubborn, pain-in-the-ass 8 HP unit. So at this point, it's going to be a bit of a problem. Shadowsun is not going to want to arrive at the same planet as sits Ragnar Blackmane, not only to kind of dodge his ability, and Ragnar here just cannot catch a break. Ragnar goes to planet number 2, Shadowsun instead arrives to planet number 1. Note that that Blackmane Sentinel is not going to be moved, and I can only imagine we're going to be seeing an attachment placed upon that Blood Angels Veterans there. Will it be the Shadowsun Stealth Cadre, or will it be something else? And this giant, yes, it is the Shadowsun Stealth Cadre, so that's now a 5/5, and this big surplus of additional resources is going to be a great opportunity for Commander Shadowsun to either use like a little bit of a deploy stall the following round, or just shift the command link drone in between attacks to make sure that her attacking unit always does so with an additional 1 to its total attack. Alright, so I'm not sure if our players had to contact a judge or what exactly it was that resulted in there being a section of footage missing from this video, but suffice it to say our players have moved past the previous round's combat. To summarize, Taurus was added to the victory display of Commander Shadowsun. Our mystery SM unit at planet number 1 was killed. Shadowsun's unit count was equivalent to that of our SM player. She was not able to trigger Taurus. And then, of course, Ragnar won Yavarn entirely uncontested and presumably did not trigger that battle ability. But Ragnar currently possesses our initiative token. He's played a pair of Honored Librarians to planet number 1. We've got a copy of the Earthcast Technician at planet number 3, a 1-cost, 1-command icon, 1/1, which allows you to look at the top 6 cards of your deck to either find a drone trait card or an attachment and to add it to your hand. And it looks like Commander Shadowsun found a copy of Heavy Marker Drone. Shadowsun is going to place a copy of Viorla Marksman to planet number 2. That means she's going to end up tying the command of her opponent. And at planet number 3, our Space Marine now has a copy of Void Pirate. So this could potentially be the game here at planet number 1. If Shadowsun runs into that veritable death trap of those 2 Honored Librarians and the 2 Tactical Squad Cardenases, if she manages to win that planet, that is going to be the game for Shadowsun, or Shadowsun could instead set herself up at planet number 2 in order to likely win the game at a following round. We've got a rather conventionally played copy of Shadowsun Stealth Cadre positioned at planet number 3, which means our 2 players are going to end up tying command. The Stealth Cadre is a 2-cost 2/2 with a command icon. It doesn't have any ability apart from its ability to be played as an attachment. Shadowsun arrives at planet number 2, and it looks like Ragnar has managed to finally track down the Tau faction warlord. Both of our players are going to derive no command phase. Well, they're not going to win a command struggle at planet number 2, but planet number 1, Yavarn, is going to be a resource won by our Space Marine. Planet number 3 is going to be a command struggle won by neither player. And now what exactly are we going to see? Ragnar has initiative, so he has to trigger his reaction prior to Shadowsun's, and that means that based on where that damage is assigned, Shadowsun can distribute an event accordingly. So it looks like Ragnar has attempted to kill that copy of Viorla Marksman. We saw the Heavy Marker Drone discarded as a shield, and I believe that's going to be a copy of Auxiliary Armor placed upon the Viorla Marksman. So it's now going to be a 3/3 ranged keyword unit. Let's hope for Ragnar's sake he's got Indomitables or shields in hand, because he is going to take a shot of 3 to the face prior to his opportunity to retreat. Planet number 1, Yavarn, is going to be added to the victory display of our Space Marine player, and it looks like it's actually going to be that Blackmane Sentinel that is killed because of the Viorla Marksman's attack. So Ragnar uses his first combat action in order to retreat. Karnath is going to actually be triggering Iridial, and that is going to be 4 points of damage removed from Inquisitor Caius Roth. And now this is looking all but insurmountable for our SM player. Shadowsun has got the 6 attack, 6 hit point Fire Drake Terminators at that not Exterminatus eligible planet. The Viorla Marksman is a 3/3 with ranged. That Blood Angels Veterans is a 5/5 that ignores the first point of damage it's dealt so long as it remains ready, and Inquisitor Caius Roth is going to be a 3/5, and whenever he's dealt attack damage, you deal 2 points of damage to the declared attacker. So best of luck to you, dear Ragnar. Best of luck to Dmitry for being able to win this one, because it's looking like it's going to be a rather daunting task indeed. If Shadowsun arrives at, okay, there I was going to say that is going to be the GG right there. So best case scenario is Ragnar arrives to planet number 1. Maybe Shadowsun goes to that planet. Maybe she doesn't even bother. If she did, that would be an opportunity to put another attachment on one of these units. But even if Shadowsun was bloodied, she could still invest resources to move that command link drone to another unit. She could move it to the recon drone. It could have attacked for 1. The Fire Drake Terminators could have attacked for 7. You could have just kept investing resources. Holy mother of hell, that Salem Enclave just saved a mountain of cash for Shadowsun. So that was one hell of a game. It looks like, unfortunately, Ragnar was not able to win this one, so this was a rather unconventionally stitched together video. Dear viewers, hopefully you enjoyed it. Regardless, a congratulations to Anton Elizarov, the gentleman who sent me in this footage in the first place, for winning winning this game, and of course, I definitely appreciate the opportunity to commentate spectacular matches like this one. Very well played all the same to Sir Dmitry Kletochkin, and this was a hell of a game. I hope you liked it half so much as I did, and dear viewers, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, or if you are already subscribed, as ever, I encourage you to share this content, because the more engagement these videos receive, the more individuals end up exposed to Conquest, they might give the game a try, enjoy what they experience, join our living card game community. And of course, altogether, the greater we are in number, the bigger message we stand to send to Fantasy Flight Games, telling them to continue to support this fantastic product. If you ever want to get in touch with me, I encourage you to do so on Facebook or on Twitter. And if you yourself are a content creator, whether you're making videos, articles, or podcasts, definitely reach out to me so I can promote your content in my unending endeavor to continue to grow this community. I don't think these endings are getting long enough, but as always, if you ever feel inclined to help support the Hive Tyrant, I would be deeply honored were you to donate as little as $1 on a strictly monthly basis to my Patreon page, and as always, be sure to check back in again soon for much more Conquest LCG content to come.